Welcome to Discovering Grayslake, a podcast dedicated to the stories and people that make our town truly unique. Join us as we sit down with local business owners, community leaders, and everyday residents to hear their tales of triumph, struggle, and everything in between. From the little-known historical gems to current events shaping our community, we'll cover it, all in an engaging and informative way. I'm your host, David Wool, and together we'll discover the heart and soul of our town, one story at a time. Today's podcast is brought to you by the lovely folks at Keller Williams North Shore West at the Sinkmars Group. Motivated not by numbers, but by helping you feel at home in our community. Jody Sinkmars and her team are committed to serving Grayslake and its neighbors with the utmost care. Call Jody today at 847-767-7358 or visit the Sinkmars Group online at sinkmarsgroup.com to get started on the path for the home you love right now. This podcast is also brought to you by the Cashmore Financial Group. Financial advice for everyday people. Turn your financial stress into financial success. Call us today, 847-231-6150. All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Discovering Grayslake. I'm a little tired this morning, but I am sitting here at 148 Center in the front office. And what does it say on the front?
Well, on the front window, it says Bella Vie Studio. On the front of the building are the other names in the of the businesses in the building.
All right, and you're Kristin Cashmore, right?
I am Kristin Cashmore.
So Kristin invited me in here today because she has listened to back-to-back podcasts, and today's going to be a review of the podcast because she wants to tell me how terrible it is.
No, they were awesome. I loved them. They were great.
We were just sitting chatting on how I say certain stuff all the time. And so I'm not going to say any ums today or anything else.
It wasn't ums. They were just phrases. So maybe you can challenge your listeners to come up with the Davisms.
Yeah, the stuff I say too much.
The stuff you say.
All right. So Kristin obviously has her shop right here on Center Street. I'm looking out the front windows and I see Emils. And I'm sure that you've walked by the studio a ton of times because it's filled with beautiful photographs of... Are those senior photographs in there?
Right. Yep. Right now, that's my class of 2023. So I started that in 2020 when those kiddos did not get graduation because of COVID. And I thought, all right, how can I honor these kids and kind of celebrate them a little bit since they didn't get the traditional graduation? And I just went back through, and any senior who came to me for a senior session, I put a picture up in the window and then told everybody, your pictures are in the window, come and take a picture in front of the window.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
It was fun. And I thought, you know what, this is a good tradition and I need to just keep it going. So those are my seniors who I have had the honor of photographing in the last year.
So senior portraits are a big part of your business.
I love senior portraits. I think it's a huge part of my business. I think it's such a great time to sort of capture who those kids are in their big transition. You graduate from high school, you're either going to college or maybe you're going out into the workforce or whatever it is that you're doing, that's the big mile marker, it seems like, or the first one in their lives. So, yeah, just who are you? What do you want to celebrate? What do you want to tell people about yourself? Whether you're an athlete, a musician, maybe you like to write stories or whatever. I always try and do traditional pictures for mom, and then let's bring in some fun. Bring your uniform.
So they bring different outfits, like wardrobe changes.
Yep, they bring different outfits. Girls more than boys. Most of the time the boys are just doing this to make mom happy, so it's always whatever she wants.
Right.
Yep, but the girls come with wardrobes and jewelry and shoes, and we just really have fun.
That's cool. I think my son might be the only one in Grayslake that didn't get a senior portrait taken.
I know, you have to hound him. And
it's
let's
too bad
go.
I don't know any photographers.
Right,
that could help me,
right. I know someone. I could find someone for you.
And I think most people on the senior photos too, the senior photos that I know that you've taken show up on their graduation invitations, and it seems like they do that. Like it's all in tune with high school senior photos, and then they use them for their graduation.
Well, what I think is fun, and what I try and do with my sessions is we do almost 2 sessions, if you will, or a session and a half. So we'll try and do a main session now as they're starting their senior year. While the weather's nice, let's do something out in the park. Let's go downtown, whatever it is you want. But let's do something in between now and when the snow happens. And then I always get together or try to get together with them again in the spring when they've made their decision. Are they going to go away to school, and where are they going? Are they going to stay here? And then let's do just a little quick mini session. Bring your college shirt, bring your cap and gown, and let's just do some quick photos in that. It sort of caps off the end of senior year, because obviously now they're just starting. So I like to kind of come back around and finish it off. And then, yes, to your point, use those. Put those on graduation announcements or invitations, or tell people this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm going, or hey, look at me in my cap and gown.
Right.
I did it. So I think that's an important part.
And it's an accomplishment. People don't understand how big of a transition that is.
Yep.
You and I met each other. Kristin and I have been friends for a long time. We have no idea how long we've been friends.
That's how long it's been.
I think originally I met you, and I believe you were working at Studio West.
I was.
Okay, so in your photography career, did you always know that you were going to be a photographer? Is
No.
that what you studied? Tell me, because if I'm correct, you went to school in Madison.
I did. University of Wisconsin-Madison. Good memory.
Yeah, see?
Go Badgers.
And I have no notes here.
Right. I did. I went to school there and graduated. Well, I went to school first with the intent of being a business major. Okay. And within my first year, I failed accounting miserably and realized, that's not going to work out so good. Met with a very wise man. I just remember being in his office, and he was smoking a pipe. He was just like the vision you have of a college counselor way back when. And he told me, study what you like. Unless you're going to be a doctor or a chemist or something where you need that applied knowledge, just study what you like. Do well in school, get good grades, and that will help you. So I really loved sociology classes. So that was my major, was a sociology major. And I thought, all right, what am I going to do with that?
Right.
So I ended up getting a job in insurance. I was a claims adjuster. So I did go into business anyway.
I did not know that.
I did. I did that for less than a year. Hated it. No offense to those that are in
just
insurance.
Not for you.
Not for me. It was corporate America, which wasn't my thing. You had people screaming at you all day long because somebody crashed into their car and it was your fault. And it just wasn't my jam. I happened to be in a wedding during that time. One of my girlfriends from high school got married. Studio West was the photographer. Mm-hmm. So I went there to order pictures because way back when in the film days, that's what you did. You'd go to the studio and look through proofs and just struck up a conversation with the people there. They were looking to hire someone to help out in the studio, maybe meet with people, with clients, and help them through orders and whatnot. And so if I was interested in that position, they would also teach me photography along the way. All right, I'm, less than a year out of school, still living at home with mom and dad, so I don't really have any bills. Let's take a chance.
Right.
And the rest is history. That's when I fell in love with photography.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then you have some accolades, I guess to say, because when we used to do stuff, so you have what's the actual thing?
So I did back then and still do belong to an industry organization called PPA, which is Professional Photographers of America. And through them, you can take classes. You can also enter into competitions. So you submit your work, and then a panel of judges will kind of give you a rating or, tell you that this is above this mark or work on this a little bit more. And so I received a certification through PPA called CPP, which is Certified Professional Photographer, which means you've passed an exam, you've shown your work to be of a certain level. And then through those competitions is where I earned my Master of Photographer designation through PPA.
Gotcha.
So
that's cool.
Yeah.
I've got to see firsthand how the photography industry has changed. And this might piss some people off, what I'm going to say, and more power to you. So I've seen because Studio West was like a staple student. We're talking about Studio West photography in downtown Libertyville, and that was the big daddy. Like that's what everybody really wanted to have.
Yep.
And I actually modeled my DJ business against that because I wanted to be the one that everybody wanted to have. And sometimes maybe you couldn't afford them, but you couldn't afford not to have them.
Yeah.
And then we get into digital photography. And then the big businesses kind of start to branch off. People go out on their own. So for a while in the wedding industry, and it seems like photography industry especially, that the people that were using, it wasn't even cell phones at that time, and it just got worse and worse and worse. So the big companies kind of went down to smaller companies or individuals. So now I get on Facebook, and if I'm on Facebook and I'm scrolling through and people are doing family photo sessions for, $100 and you get all the photos.
Yep.
How do you feel about that?
You
can speak frankly.
So yes, back in the day, we were medium format. We were high quality photography that you would save your pennies for. I remember my parents We had our pictures done there when I was in college. My brother was in high school. That was kind of our one and only. And they saved their money because they wanted a big print one time. Digital photography definitely changed that and brought about the opportunity for a lot more people to do photography.
Right.
I don't mind that.
Do you think it's devalued the photography industry at all? Because I firmly believe it has. Because I see people with really real talent other than like a point and shoot.
It may have, but at the end of the day, people are either going to value photography or they're not. And, the funny story is with my husband, Randy.
That's when Randy Cashmore, by
Randy
the way.
Cashmore.
Thank you to our sponsor, Randy Cashmore.
Shameless plug.
Right.
When we met, he did not see photography as important. Why do you need? I've got my memories.
He was a DJ there.
He was a DJ,
okay,
right?
So he had a
right.
different
Well,
mindset.
we always had that wedding argument too of what's more important. Yes.
I'm going to tell you it's the DJ.
I know you are. So we'll have that same argument and we'll just agree to disagree.
Right.
But he always said to me, I don't see why you have to do this and print all these pictures. And he didn't have a value to photography because in his mind he had his memories. He didn't need photos. And so I think there are people that just don't value photos. I think our kids, that generation, I don't know that they value that. They're using Snapchat and they're taking pictures that disappear. And,
right.
I always say to my kids, you have to save those. I hope you're saving them to your camera roll.
Right.
But they just don't see that value of sitting down with a book from 10, 20, 50 years ago and flipping pages and looking at pictures. So that, I think, is where digital photography has changed it a little bit. I have a wedding album. I have my pictures in an album because that's all I could do. It wasn't digital back then.
Right.
A lot of the couples that I photograph weddings for now, they just get a USB with, digital files, and I have no idea what they're doing. They could be making their own prints and albums,
sure, or
it could be sitting on a flash drive. But I'm sure you've all seen that picture online. There's like a meme where there's a USB drive in a frame sitting on someone's, table, and here's my wedding photos.
That's funny.
My biggest fear is that people aren't going to do anything with those digitals. I get that you want to have them. I have them on my phone all the time. And if you were to say to me, hey, how's Abby doing in softball? I would right away pull out my phone and we'd flip through and I'd show you pictures and probably videos of her pitching or whatever. So that's really important, but it's also important to do the archiving part. So my business model is really based more on printing prints. I have digitals. You can purchase digitals. That's not a problem. But I really want you to leave here with something. And whether it's a giant 30 by 40 you're putting over your fireplace or a little 5 by 7 that you're putting on your nightstand, I don't care. But put something up in your home for you to look at, for guests to look at when they come in, and then for you to someday put in a box or a scrapbook or whatever it is that you can hand to your kids or your grandkids or down the road so they have something to look back on that point in time.
I couldn't agree with you more. And you've done several family sessions for me. And in my home right now, there are 2 giant photographs of Max and Lily that are still in our staircase that you took a gajillion years ago. And they're like family heirlooms, and those will be on our wall forever.
Well, especially now because that was when they were probably
when they liked me.
When they liked you, they still like you. They just, it's not cool to tell you that.
Right.
You're going back now probably 10, 12 years. They've changed so much.
Yes.
And so for you as a dad, for me as a mom, I look back at those pictures of my littles and go, oh my gosh, pictures aren't important today.
Right.
You'll take a picture today and you'll look at it and you'll go, that's nice. Right. It's tomorrow and a year from now and 10 years from now and so on, where it becomes much more valuable. And so that's what I don't want to get lost in the whole digital world is, make sure you, and that goes for just candids that you have on your cell phone.
Sure.
Do something with those. Print those out. Just 4x6s. Again, if you're just putting them in a box or something that you have that you can go back and look at without a computer, without a phone.
Right. And there is something about when you walk into somebody's home and they have a family photo above their fireplace.
Don't you go right to it?
Right. I love to see it,
yeah.
Especially not even if it's new, but if it's older.
Yep.
That's really cool. I think the most thing I see that people actually print out photos, it seems like they come for family photo sessions for Christmas cards.
Yep, that too.
And I know you do, I'm looking around your walls right now, and you do a lot of family photos.
Yep.
What are the percentage of those that are used for, like purposely say, we have to take our family photo, we need it for our Christmas card? Is that a big majority of them, or are there people just documenting their family as they go on years over years?
It depends. Some will come with that intention, and some will, I always mention that. So when we get together, it's, okay, let's talk about what you need or want for home.
Right.
Are there any relatives? Are you going to give these to grandparents or aunts and uncles? How about Christmas cards? So that's part of my process afterwards, is we're going to sit down after you've had a chance to look through everything that we did and sort of pick out some favorites. I want to get together and sort of talk through the process with you and offer options. Have you come here to the studio so that you can see what a framed print looks like versus a standout print where it doesn't have a frame. Right. Here are some Christmas card samples. Here are little mini accordion books you can do. So I think people like to have that personal service to sort of walk through it rather than just, here's your flash drive, bye, have fun. And that's, when you talk about the market, that's where a lot of photographers, they might be doing it out of their home, and that's awesome. I mean, if that's what they want and that's their business model, that's great. I just want to take it one step further and be able to get you something in print or digital if that's what you want. But
I agree with you, because a lot of people do the flip books. You go to people's house and they have a flip book of the last year or something like that. And even guys, if you're doing that at home from your phone and using Shutterfly or whatever, I think it's super important.
Absolutely. There's great services. Chat books, I think, is another one where you can do a subscription and automatically every month that, I don't know if it reads to your phone. Yeah, there
might be stuff I don't want it to automatically.
I know, right? So you might not want to look into that. But yeah, it just documenting that's photography, right? We're documenting what's going on now. Again, not for now, but for the future to look back on.
Right. And back to my point of the whole, and like we said, we have nothing against, or Kristin has nothing against people that use their point and shoot cameras and then they send them out to people and things like that. But the value of actually having a professional photographer who's been trained over the years, because the situations come up, lighting and flash and all of that are so important. So I just want people, my point is that I want people to value what a professional photographer brings to the table. And there's several professional photographers in town, no matter what you choose. And when people choose a photographer, I always have this conversation. Do people come in here and have a meeting with you and choose you because they look at the wall and go, man, this is beautiful? Or what are the other factors? Obviously, it has to be personality.
I'm very fortunate that I think the majority of my business comes from either people I know or referrals So, no, I don't do a whole lot of meetings in here ahead of time.
Oh.
We just do phone consultations. And I think, as with anything else, photography is a fit. And you have to feel comfortable with your photographer, especially if it's a wedding.
Yeah.
And that's somebody you're going to be with for a long time, from the start to the end.
On the most stressful day of your life.
On the most stressful day, yeah. And there are styles, too. So there are photographers that like to have, their photos are very light and airy. Some want a more dark and moody. I'm very just true to life. I want the colors to be like your eyes see it. Very normal, colorful, saturated. So I think you need to find the style that you like, and then just the person. I can teach you how to use a camera. I can teach you about light and shutter speed and aperture and all those things.
I would love to do that, by the way.
That'd be fun. And make you a quote-unquote photographer where you know how to operate that camera. But what I think the more important part is how you interact with people. Are you a person, or are you a photographer who stands there and says, okay, ready, 1, 2, 3, and then, or are you someone that just kind of talks and makes people feel comfortable and the pictures happen along the way? So whatever it is, whether it's family portraits or children or weddings, I think it's important to sort of make sure that you click with that person. Yep. And they know what they're doing, yes, but they also can run the session and get what they need to in your time together.
Nice.
If that makes sense.
Okay, so I'm going to urge everybody in Grayslake that if you're getting a family portrait done, at least come see Kristin, see her work, check out. We've been to, I don't know how many shoots you and I have done together.
A lot.
A lot, yes. And we need another one and that's the thing, you always look back and go, man, I wish I would have taken a picture when my little guy Jackson is young and he's so cute, and then before too long he'll just be giant and just another bigger human being.
It's hard too, because it seems like, especially with your first child or your second, time stands still, right? You have all the time in the world. And then as they get older and life gets busier, you're, oh my gosh, where did that just go? are we in another year? I mean, summer's almost over. Our kiddos are going back to school in less than a month.
I can't believe it.
Right? And we all say the same thing. So as they get older, it goes faster, and you have to be more purposeful about, all right, I gotta get this now.
Yes.
So yes, we need to.
Yes.
We need to.
We'll do that too. And
but we just did last fall, so we got something.
We did do last fall, but guess what? We never printed anything.
Dang.
I know. Terrible.
Shame.
And I didn't send out Christmas cards either. So I don't
all right.
think you're right.
This fall.
All right, we're on it. We have it. We have it. I want to, and I think, so if I say any of the phrases that you don't like, I can change up, because I usually say something, then we switch gears. Like, we're going to switch gears here, whatever. We should
I haven't heard it yet.
A keyword
Right?
that we go, it could be baloney, and then we change to thing. Years back, I was blown away, because I didn't even know that you were doing this kind of service, and you want to listen up, folks, if you're drifting off to the soft tone of my voice or something. But you do something very cool, and I don't even know. I want you to tell me the story. What is the name of it? Because you know what I'm talking about.
I do know what you're talking about. So quite a few years ago, I belonged to an organization called Now I Lay Me Down to Sleep, which does bereavement photography for families who have infant loss. Whether that be a pregnancy where mom went into labor too early and the baby wasn't viable, or whether that be a full-term baby who had a condition that was incompatible with life. So I think I heard about the organization through a seminar. I had gone to see a photographer who was very involved. Actually, she was a co-founder in the organization, and she spoke about it, and I thought, wow, that'd be really cool. I just don't know if I can do that. It was one of those things you hem and haw about and think about, but never really do. And then I met a family. I did a family portrait session for a family who had a baby who had passed away shortly after birth in the hospital. And she was showing me pictures. We were in her home, and she was showing me pictures of her baby, and this was all we got.
Right now, by the way.
It was just a few quick pictures that a nurse had taken, and they weren't the greatest. And she said, "This is all I have, and I wish I had had more, but this is all we could do at the time." And it was sort of like that was my hit on the head, that you need to do this. And I have told her, thank you, that you're the reason I did it. And so I joined the organization and got the training, and basically you're on call, and a hospital will call you and say, we have a family, mom's in labor, we expect her to deliver at this time, and they'd really like to have a photographer. And then you go. And you do pictures in the hospital of the family, whatever it is they may want. Sometimes mom and dad want to be in the picture. Sometimes it's please just take pictures of the baby. It was very difficult, but very gratifying. And I know that probably sounds weird to say, but just to know that you could provide something for someone in need, even though it's that difficult, it made my photography more purposeful and more meaningful. That it's not always the happy times, it's not always capturing, but sometimes photography is required just to give parents peace of mind, and something to remember someone by.
Yeah, and I'm sure some people listen to this, because first when you told me that, I was like, oh my gosh, part of it seemed not morbid to me.
Right. You do what? Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
But then again, people are so attached to that that they need to have that done.
And they may not even know that they need it at the time, because I can't imagine what that's like.
What does it take to even make that phone call?
Right.
When you know that your baby's not going to make it.
That's the amazing part of hospitals and staff. You're interacting in the beginning with nurses who are amazing, and helping this family through this process in so many other ways than just that. But they do the coordinating, and you never know what you're going to walk into, but you just feel with those families. And I would be lying if I told you I never cried. Almost every time you leave and you're in tears driving home, just because you've become part of that family for a short period of time. And I can remember so many of them. They'll always stick with me.
Right. And probably helps you appreciate your children.
100%. 100%.
That's unbelievable. And like I said, I'm sure that most people listening haven't either, because I knew nothing about that. Is that something you're still actively doing?
I am not. It became difficult for a couple reasons. Number one, I had Abby, so I was having a baby, and how could I walk into a hospital visibly pregnant, that just didn't seem right. And there was a shortage of photographers at that time too. So I was getting calls and having to tell hospitals, I'm sorry, I can't go, and I don't really know of anyone else, and it just emotionally became too much. So I had to step away. It might be something I go back to. I think I've just it seems like so long ago now, and I with still having a kid busy and all of Abby's sports stuff, I don't know that I could give the time to it that I want to.
Right.
So, but maybe someday.
Right. And to that point of taking photos that you know and how these are immortalized, whether it's a baby that passes away, I still remember. Coming home from the hospital, and I think I called you and your family when my sister was diagnosed and she wasn't going to live. She was going to have a couple weeks left to live. I think 12 to 24 hours later, through your suggestion, that we did a family photo shoot when Shannon was still alive.
Yep. Came to your house. I remember that very, very well.
Yeah, and I still have those framed, and they're there. And if you wouldn't have suggested that, that never would have happened.
Yeah.
And looking back at it, the way she looked, then, but that's something in a family moment that we had to, and I think my sister at that point thought, really knew that we were celebrating her.
100%. And that's what you're doing. You have to look at it from the positive side of celebrating and just capturing the love now. We're not thinking about, we're all going to die someday. You and I could walk out of here and you never know what happens. So that's not why you're doing it. You need to do it, and you need to be a part of those memories. I can't tell you how many people say to me, oh, I hate being in photos. I need to lose 10 pounds. I need to, color my hair, whatever it is. I'm always the one taking the pictures. I try not to be in them. You're crazy. You need to be in them.
Right.
Your family loves you. The weight you are, the hair color you are, the whatever it is that you got going on, that's how your kids know you. That's how they will remember you. And so be in those photos so that when they want to go back and show who mom was, oh gosh, she was never in any photos. Don't make that mistake. Just get in the photos.
Right.
Just celebrate and love, and that's what photos capture. They don't capture your weight or your size or the way you look. They capture the love and the connection that you are having in that moment with the people that you're with.
Right. Amen to that. And I'm sure anybody around our ages probably have the old videos that, Dad took all the videos. So
yeah.
Dad was never in the videos. It was always everybody else. And it's
right.
so sad because you wanted to see your whole family in there.
Well, and that's the cool part about cell phones. Turn that sucker on selfie mode.
Exactly. And you could snap it from your watch. Turn your
yes,
iPhone
you can.
on and
can I tell you?
Do it. Yes.
We do that every Christmas. We put the cell phone on the mantle, and we all stand, and I'm the one with the Apple Watch, and I got to put it behind a kid because I got to push the button, and then we smile, and then it's you get to see it right away and know, do I look okay?
Right.
But yeah, we do that often when we're together, just because I want to be in it too. I don't want to be the one taking it. So,
right.
Yeah.
So I think that what I'm taking out of this is we shouldn't probably wait for those moments where someone's sick.
100%.
And it should just be almost on a yearly basis to take family photos.
Do something. Again, I think it's not, people might be thinking, well, that's expensive to hire a professional photographer. It doesn't have to be. Again, you don't have to spend $1 million. You do a session, you take a couple of 5x7s or 8x10s, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be a big extravagant thing every time, but just document.
Right. And then I always think, look at all the other crap you buy. Do something that has some value to it.
Right. Somebody the other day, I don't know what they were talking about, but they equated it to Starbucks. That's, 3 Starbucks, or that's 5 Starbucks. So,
Amen. I was just out somewhere and I wouldn't buy a hat for myself that I really wanted, but then I drank a $20 martini.
See? There you go.
It's where you value your money, right? It's like, where do you spend it? So I encourage people to use it.
Yep.
As Kristin says, document it, and print them out.
Yes.
So that's our goal to everybody listening today. Walgreens better be flooded
right.
today. So you pick up your cell phone, get on there.
Well, you don't even have to go anywhere. You can upload it from your computer and have them mailed to you. So just do it from your pajamas at home.
Exactly. And right from your cell phone.
Right from your cell phone.
I just hit on there and I order them, and then they go. So you'd be proud of Max because for Father's Day, he printed out all of our photos through
the
state baseball tournament. And he made me this big collage of, he did it by himself too, with a hot glue gun on canvas.
That's awesome.
I know.
I love that.
I know. It's wonderful.
See, and isn't that one of your most prized possessions? Your house is burning down, and what are you running for? You're running for that.
Amen.
Yep.
Every day.
Yep.
Every day. Okay, so we keep talking about your kids, which is funny because you and I have something in common, especially age-wise.
We do.
So run me through. So oldest is Zach.
Oldest is Zach. He's 24.
Okay.
Next oldest is Nate. He's 21. So we got married. We had 2 boys. We were good. All was well. We were done. And then somebody upstairs said, hold my beer. Abby is 12. So we got our little surprise baby. The boys were 9 and 12 when she was born. And she was the addition to our family we did not know we needed. But life is so much richer with her. Although we do laugh because she's in sports. She plays basketball. She plays softball. So we sit at games and we turn to each other and we say, we're kind of the grandparents of the group here. And the other parents, no, you're not. No, you're not. And then when we tell them our age, they're like, well, you're not that much older than we are. And we're like, yep, told you.
Take that age gap between Nate and Abby, and that's how much older you are.
Exactly.
And I go through the same thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I was at a baseball tournament and I was changing Jackson's diaper in the stands, and one of the dads looked over to me and he said, "Hey, when Jackson's out here playing at this age, we're going to be changing your diaper."
Hopefully not, right?
Yes, there was some cursing after that.
Right. Yeah. I tell everybody it's hard, but amazing at the same time. So, as you said, you're dragging Jackson to baseball games as a baby. You're telling your older kids, no, we can't go do this because the little one needs a nap, or, shh, tell your friends to be quiet. And now she wants to go in the basement. Why can't I go in the basement with the boys? Well, honey,
right.
So it's challenging a little bit to have the gap, but it's leveling, as you know. You can take Jackson and go out in the backyard when you're having a bad day and throw a ball. And
it changes everything.
It does. The mindset that littles bring is just so cool, which is probably why, for me, one of the things I love to do, in addition to weddings and seniors, is preschool photography.
That's right,
I do. Every fall, I photograph. There's about 8 to 10 preschools in the area, and I have the privilege of going in and capturing those littles, and it is the best. There is something about a 3 to 6 year old mind that I just love. People think I'm crazy, but just connecting with those kids, they make me laugh. They can be challenging. How do I get through to the little one who is afraid of pictures? All right, what do I need to do to get that smile? So it's challenging, it's fun, and then they just have the best personalities.
It's so fun.
And if you ever get a little one to belly laugh, it's just the best.
Right, and those photos are great.
Oh, they're awesome.
That's great. Yeah, because I think a lot of people, when you see the photo on for the podcast promo, that you probably have seen Kristin around.
Probably.
And since this is a Grayslake podcast, let's talk about some other things you do, because I know that you've done a lot of photography for the Village Center.
Mm-hmm.
And I also saw they have the Voices of the Village that you're featured on there as well.
Yeah.
So tell me about some of the things that you do in the community.
So the Village Center is something that is just kind of a new focus for the Village of Grayslake. Allison Cook is in charge of, or working as the head of that project, basically just to bring awareness to the community of what the Village Center has to offer. Everybody knows downtown Grayslake, Center Street. You're somewhat familiar because you drive down, but there's Central Park, and there's so many cool things that you can do, and then there's so many cool things that happen within the community. So Allison has been she is amazing and awesome, and just is so passionate about promoting things. So they approached me about a year ago and said, hey, we want to do photography. We're going to have a new website. We want to put a lot of pictures up there. Are you interested? Heck yeah, I'm interested. I love this community. We weren't supposed to stay here. We were just landing here because it was more affordable. I grew up in Libertyville. That's where I thought, I wanted to raise my kids. We bought a house here and fell in love, and we'll never leave probably. So I just feel so many wonderful things about this community. So to be a part of that project was a huge honor. And we started with a photo shoot to just sort of capture the events. We did pictures at the farmers market. We went to Central Park and did, there's a walking path and the Colts football practices here. And, just did you know that there are all of these things? So we kind of had that intention to sort of launch the website. And now we're sort of more hyper-focusing on, we did a run with businesses. So every business in the Village Center got an email from Allison saying, hey, we are offering you an opportunity. We want to come meet you. We want to take some photos so that we can put them up on our website. We've got a listing for your business on our website. And then, by the way, you can have all of these pictures free of charge that you can then use in your social media or your website or whatever. So that was super cool. We put days in and had a little sign-up thing, and people signed up. And we would go, Allison and I would go together to the business to meet people. I was supposed to be there to take pictures, which we did. But I also learned so much. Tell me a little bit about who you are and how did you get started and where are you from? And I'm the question asker. I want to get to know you so that I can talk about you. And that was just super cool for me is meeting all of the amazing neighbors, business neighbors that I have here. Because then I can say to you, oh yeah, Dave, so-and-so, when you did the podcast with Nick from Andy's Records.
Love him.
I knew that his name wasn't Andy, his name was Nick. I knew all that. So listening to your podcast was kind of cool because I was hearing what he had already told me.
Right.
Which is kind of cool. It's kind of fun. So, yeah, I am very lucky to be able to do that. I love working with the Chamber. The Grayslake Chamber they put on so many great things. This weekend is Summer Nights.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're going to have the Battle of the Bands, so to speak. They're going to close
outside
up
here.
Right outside. 2 main stages with bands that are going to play, and you can drink in the streets and listen to great music. And it doesn't get any better than that. So the Chamber puts on so many wonderful events. My favorite that I do is the tree lighting.
Yes.
So,
yes. And you do you still do Santa photos there too?
I still do Santa photos. So Mr. and Mrs. Claus ride into town on a fire truck and light the tree, and then we go for pictures. And I just do those for free. We put them up afterwards. You can have them, print them, print them.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just community events like that are a huge part of what I believe I should be doing as a business in town. It isn't just about me being here doing my photography so I can make money. It's about me giving back to the community to say thank you for allowing me to be here in town with my business. So I try to get involved in as many things as I possibly can, just to be able to give back.
Yeah, I think at every event I see you, and I'm like, what are you doing now? Come on, what are you doing now?
And I also have a great relationship with the Park District.
Right.
Our Park District is awesome, and I know you just did Shelley's podcast came out Tuesday, so if you haven't listened to that, go listen to that because Shelley, absolutely. Shelley's amazing. The whole Park District is amazing. So I am fortunate enough that I get to do pictures for their preschools, their basketball, their travel basketball, Grayslake Pride. They allow me to be their photographer, and then I in turn will help out with. We did a really cool Santa event, which we're going to do again this year, where they transform the rec center into Santa's workshop. The kids from Grayslake Central's PSP class came and did that last year, and I was blown away at what they did. If you didn't do it last year, you have to sign your kiddos up this year because
that's so cool.
Oh, it was awesome. We had pictures. We had reindeer games going on in the gym. The kids made like an igloo out of old milk jugs. They had a little movie. You could arts and crafts. It just was awesome. So, I love doing events like that. The Grow Grayslake, I've done pictures for the Dog Days of Summer, their Halloween event.
Pumpkin Fest.
Pumpkin Fest, yes. Thank you. Where you were there doing DJ stuff, and I got to be there doing pictures. So I just think that's fun. That's why we live here. That's why we raise our kids here.
Right. Oh, I got one more thing for you.
What?
Some of the, especially, and I know you do this for other sports too, but this year, obviously, with the big baseball thing for seniors, for the senior day at baseball, I had no idea that it was coming, but you took their pictures and these other poses, put them together for those, and had these huge banners that the kids got to take home, which is one of the coolest things.
Yeah, that's fun. That's fun. That's at Grayslake Central, and it started with Zach when Zach was playing football. Oh. And I was part of the little football family club at the time, and we wanted to honor seniors, and I said, okay, why don't we make these really cool banners for them?
Yeah.
So
makes them look larger than life too.
Oh,
It's
and they
so
love
cool.
it. So I just did like a little media day the other night with the seniors for this year, and they had so much fun. But yes, I get to go. We schedule picture days for all 3 seasons for all the sports, and I get to take pictures of them looking tough, holding a bat, like they're gonna slug it out of the park, or football if they're screaming or whatever it is, and put it on a cool background, and then we make 2 foot by 3 foot banners that hang on senior night, and then they get to take them home and put them up on their wall. It is. It's fun, and that's it's a different side of photography, and that's what I think is I like to do so much. A lot of photographers want to specialize, which again, if that's what you want to do, then, kudos to you. I don't want to get stuck in a rut of I'm always doing this, I'm always doing that.
Well, you're creative. You'd be bored out of your mind.
I'd be bored out of my mind. So I love the spectrum and being able to do a little bit of everything. And I think sometimes it may get me in trouble because I may stretch myself a little too thin, but
don't we all?
We all do. Yeah. And the secret is just finding good people to help, which I think I have. I've got a couple people that help me administratively, so that is always awesome. But I just love the variety. I always want to keep the variety if I can.
Right. And here's another thing. Maybe that's what I say when I change gears. Here's another thing. I look through LinkedIn and all these other things, and if you have a headshot that's from like 5 years ago, or if you're like me and you're balding and you have a full head of hair, come and get a headshot done. And your website, and if I've looked at websites and they suck. They have the About Us page and they have their staff members on there, and these pictures are from so long ago. I mean, how easy is it to update your headshot, right?
Oh, it's super easy. And more importantly, a lot of people don't have headshots. Their business cards don't have pictures. And to me, I'm a face person more so than a name person. I'll know that I know you. I may not remember your name. I'll remember your face. So a business card with a name is okay, but a business card with a name and a face is 10 times better. And I just think whatever industry you're in, whatever you do, whether it's the corporate world to Nick at Andy's Records, you are the face of your business. And you need to put that face to the name of your business.
Right. And I'm doing the same. I'm putting a voice with there.
You are, which is even better.
Yeah, and I think it's important you talk about business cards. But if I go to a website and I don't see a picture of the owner or who's running this, because let's face it, as small business owners, and you and I have lived off of our craft, so to say, for so long, people relate with the owner of the business, and they want to see who they're doing business with.
Well, and when you go to a website, you check out their product, but eventually don't you try to find the About Us button?
Oh, I want to know I want to know who I'm giving my money to.
I want to know about your business, where you're from, where you started, and then if I click on About Us and I see a face of either the owner or if there's staff, it just makes it that much better to me, because now you've connected with me on a personal level.
Right. And with that also, anybody like listening to a podcast thing like this, they go to your website. If they see a picture and they know you have family, at least they know when you're paying them for a service that they become real. It's just not. It takes it to a totally different personal level.
For sure.
So that's my sales thing for people to get their headshots or fun shots. I think that things have changed so many ways that people want to see who you are in your environment.
And I rarely do a headshot on a gray backdrop anymore. I mean, I'll ask, what's your industry? And if you're a financial planner, if you're a banker, you probably need that suit and tie. But then do you? I mean, my husband Randy's a financial planner who never wears a suit and tie because that's not the look he wants. So his pictures were done outside in downtown showing, hardscape, a brick wall, or just the sidewalk, because he wants
hanging out in a polo shirt. He
wants to be approachable. So it's important to think about what you're trying to portray and what your market is. And some people have to because they work for a company and that's what the company requires. But, it doesn't necessarily always have to be that way.
No. Before we wrap up, I promised Kristin that we weren't going to do the hot seat. No. So
okay.
So we don't have to today. But we'd like to thank Barbecue Productions and Chris over there for not doing the hot seat.
Yes, thank
today.
you. Thank you, Chris, for not putting me through that.
Yes. So go eat some barbecue and think about how you didn't hear how I had to grill Kristin. But I did have a whole nother set of things that were going to be like, name your children.
Oh, I could do easy ones like that.
Name your children. What's your address? What's your phone number? What's your husband's nickname? Yeah, but we won't, because I think everybody should know that. It's Bubba, by the way.
Yes, it is, Bubba.
Yes. Not the name of her children.
No.
But the guy down here. Is there anything else? It's funny because when we first spoke, like, I don't think people really realize how many things they do until we sit down and we actually talk about stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you're busy.
I am busy.
You're busy. And I'm sure that hopefully after this, we'll have somebody else to go, wow. And don't ever hesitate to pick up the phone with any of these people that are in creatives and say, Kristin, do you do this? I guarantee she's going to say yes. Oh, I have one more thing that you do.
What?
You shoot real estate stuff, too.
I do, for one of your sponsors,
That's
Jody
right.
Sinkmars
We'd like
with
to thank the
Keller
Sinkmars
Williams
Group.
North Shore Group. Yes,
That's right.
There you go.
So you do another one.
I do.
Real estate photography.
Yep. I am lucky to be on Jody's team for her new listings. So she'll call when they have a new listing, and I meet Brandy, her staging person extraordinaire, out at a house, and I do the listing photos for that and turn it around within 24 to 48 hours so they can get that up on the market and probably sold in 24 to 48 hours too, as things are going.
Here these days, right?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Anything else you do that I'm forgetting?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay.
I think we've covered it.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for being such a big part of our community, and I'm sure that when you see this, comment on the post on here and let Kristin know if she's done your senior or your preschooler or both.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I'm sure that'd
be
fun.
I have now officially been in business long enough that has happened.
Oh my God.
You photographed my kids at preschool and now they're getting married. And I'm like, don't tell me that, because I didn't get any older, right?
No.
I didn't.
As long as you don't take pictures of yourself, you'll never know that you got older.
But to that point, that is sort of like the coup d'etat for me. Like that is why I do it. If you remember me from that long ago and I left an impression on you that long ago that you're calling me now to do the wedding.
Right. It's the ultimate compliment,
Oh,
right?
it is the ultimate compliment. I mean,
So
that's what I want to try to do, is be relational. I don't want to be the one who's always doing sales and just pulling you in because I'm the cheapest price. I want it to be relational. I want to be someone that meant something to you and did it in a way that was pretty cool that you'll call again.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, so let's tell people where they can follow you, where they can find you, websites, social places.
Okay, so website is bellaviestudio.com.
Right, and Bella Vie is spelt?
Bella
Okay.
Vie Studio. And the name, just because people say, why Bella Vie?
Yeah.
I didn't want it to be photography by Kristin, that just seems like everybody does that. And it was not the image I wanted. So Bella is beautiful in Italian, and V is life in French. So my tagline is capturing the moments of your beautiful life, because that's what life is. It's beautiful. So that's how I came up with Bella Vie Studio.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
If I'm on Facebook right now, I find you under the same name?
You find me under the same name. Full disclosure,
Yeah.
I am terrible about keeping up with social media, because I go on thinking I'm going to post, which I do, but then I spend the next hour and a half scrolling to see everybody else's posts, and I kind of get lost in it. So it is a goal of mine to get better. I do have an Instagram too, but that's even worse than Facebook, so don't even go there, because I set it up, and I need to.
I can help you out with that.
Can you help me?
Yeah,
with
I'll
that?
help you out with that.
I need to get better. Yeah.
So basically, the website's a great place to see. Facebook's just going to be a little delayed.
Just a little delayed. I did post my wedding from Saturday, but I just don't always remember to go there. But yes, Facebook is a great place. There's a contact page, so you can send me an email if you don't want to call. I love phone calls, because I think so much of photography is me finding out what's in your head. For you to just say, I want a family portrait, well, that's great. How many are in your group? Where do you want to go? Do you have ideas, or do you need suggestions? I can certainly point you in the right direction, but maybe you want to go to your family farm that has meant so much to you. So a conversation, I think, is always great, just so that I can understand what you're looking for and then tailor that session to really be right in the wheelhouse.
Just make it personal.
Yeah.
Just make it personal. Yep. All right. So the other way to find her is walk out the front door of Emil's and look across the street and just come knock on the door and say hello. Since we've been sitting here, there's like 15 people that have stopped by and checked out the senior photos and the other stuff that's in the window, so you're not hard to find.
Yeah, well, that's the idea. When this space became available, and you and I were in this space.
Oh my gosh, that's right. We shared space
remember,
for a little
because
while.
I didn't think that I could financially do it alone.
Right.
So you helped jumpstart that for me. Thank you.
Wow.
Yep. And then I've realized how important it is to be on Center Street, to have a window, and be able to have people find me that way. Because I just booked a session a couple days ago, and I said, how'd you find out about me? Oh, I walked by and saw your window.
See?
Perfect. That's why I'm here.
All right. Grayslake, spread the word.
Yeah.
So, hey, thank you, Kristin, so
thank
much.
you. This wasn't so bad. See, I was nervous about this.
No, there's nothing to worry about with me.
Oh, no, I know.
I behave myself. Plus, it's like 8 o'clock in the morning, so right. I don't start misbehaving until after 10:15.
Okay, good. There you go.
That's good. So thank you, everybody, for listening to another episode of Discovering Grayslake with Kristin Cashmore here at Bella Vie Studio. If you're not following Discovering Grayslake, make sure to, and I hate saying this, but go like the page, like it on Facebook, like it on Instagram, but more importantly, whatever podcast platform you're listening on, whether you're on Apple or you're on Spotify, anywhere, hit the subscribe button. These are also they're audio versions, but they're also on YouTube. So subscribe on there. You will get an alert when a new episode comes out. So if you're not being interviewed on this podcast, I think it's very important to understand what our community has to offer and be a part of it. If somebody brings something up that you can contribute and bring something to make this town even just a little bit better, we'd love it.
Well said.
Well said. All right. Thank you again.
Thank you.
We'll see everybody or hear everybody next Tuesday. Thank you, Kristin.